Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So today's video is a cook with me and I am sharing how I make arroz con pollo, which is a Colombian dish. I don't know if it's Colombian, but it's very popular in Colombia and it's one of my favorites. It's just rice mixed with chicken and some peas and carrots, and I just love it. It's one of my favorite dishes. So here's the list of everything I use and let's get started. Okay, so after I washed my chicken breast, I just cut it in half because it was pretty thick and I just wanted it to cook faster. But all I'm doing here is boiling it in some water, and I am adding all my seasonings to the water: pepper, salt, onion powder, garlic powder, and my complete seasoning. Badia is the brand I use. And then I'm just gonna let that cook until the chicken is cooked through and I have a nice chicken broth. And that's what we're going to use to make the rice. So I think that's like the #1 secret on this dish. Or I mean, this is the way I do it. This is the way my mom taught me how to do it. So okay, so while the chicken is cooking, I'm gonna go ahead and chop up these vegetables, and I'm just cutting some onion, pepper, and garlic and putting them in my little mini chopper. And you could go ahead and cut it by hand if you want to. I just love using this mini chopper because it feels like it goes by so much faster. But sometimes I do like to have bigger chunks of the onions and the peppers, so sometimes I just do it by hand. But this time I just wanted to do this really quick, so I put everything in the chopper. I'm FaceTiming with my mother-in-law because I get lonely when I cook. So sometimes I just call either my mom or I call her and we FaceTime. And sometimes I'll go live on Instagram. Okay, so I don't really have exact measurements. You guys already know this if you've seen any of my other cook with me videos, but I think I use about half a red bell pepper, half an onion, and maybe 2 cloves of garlic, and that was good enough. But you could put as little or as much as you want, but that will give your rice some flavor, so don't be greedy with it. And now that the chicken is ready, I'm just gonna go ahead and take it out and put it on this bowl, put it on the side, and I'm gonna start on the rice. Okay, so I know I've showed you how I make my rice in other videos, so I'm just gonna go through it really quick. All I did was grab the white part of a green onion, I chopped it up and fried it in olive oil in the pot before I added the water. And then the water that I'm adding, as I mentioned before, is the chicken broth that I got from cooking the chicken. So you're just gonna go ahead and add that to your pot. I'm making 1 cup of rice, so I'm adding about 2 cups of the water. You could add a little more salt if you feel like it needs it, because you do want the rice to have a good flavor. And then I'm adding this food coloring because arroz con pollo for us is yellow. I'll show you the brand and what it's called, but I think it's just pretty much a yellow food coloring. So that's about done. I'm gonna let the rice cook, and while that happens, all I'm doing here is grabbing 2 forks and pulling my chicken. So you're gonna end up with just pulled chicken. You could also grill your chicken separately and then add it to your rice. There's a lot of ways to make this dish. Again, this is the way that my mom taught me how to make it and the way I make it, but there's tons and tons of different ways that you can make this as well. I got a little distracted on the phone and almost forgot to add my peas and carrots. I usually like to add them when they're still liquid in the rice, but because I almost forgot, I just added them now, which is fine because once you cover it, the steam will cook them, and it was totally fine. But just letting you know, usually you want to do it when they're still liquid in there. But once I covered that, I just went ahead and put some olive oil in this pan, and I added my mixture of onions and peppers and garlic. And to that, I'm adding some salt, some pepper, and some of the Badia seasoning because you want this to have some flavor. This is going to go in your rice and is what's going to give it a lot of that nice, good flavor. So you just add seasonings to it and then saute it for a little bit. And for a little bit, I mean like 5 minutes or even less. Okay, so now you're gonna add your last secret ingredient, and yes, it is ketchup. I know it might sound a little weird, but ketchup will give your rice the perfect flavor. It will just give it a little bit of sweetness and it will just be really good. So trust me, just put a little ketchup on your onion and pepper mixture, and then you're just gonna grab your chicken, pull it in that pan, and then mix everything together. You could go ahead and add a little more ketchup if you feel like it needs it, but yeah, just mix everything so the chicken is nice and coated, and that's about it. By the time you're done with your chicken, your rice is probably ready. So you're just gonna open it up. I grab a fork just to fluff it up and mix the carrots and the peas with it, and then you are ready to put everything together. And every time I make this dish, I need to have some sweet plantains with it. So I picked up these Goya sweet plantains from the grocery store, and I just pop them in the oven, and they're amazing. But here I'm just showing you the last step is to put your chicken into your rice. You could move it to a bigger pot. You could mix it in that pot. I made a mess. I always make a mess when I do this, but you just go ahead and dump the chicken in there and mix everything together, and you're pretty much done. This is it. This is your dish. I absolutely love it. I could eat it for days. Like, I eat all the leftover the next day. I just love this dish, and I think it's super easy. So here's the final product. I just like to get fancy and serve it how they serve it at the Colombian restaurant. So I put my rice in a cup and then flip it over the plate. But I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I know a lot of you asked me for it on my Instagram. Let me know what you think. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye.